Scotland's coasts and seas and marine wildlife and our seabirds, it's an iconic kind of part of Scotland's identity. It's something that, as much as our mountains and forests, Scotland's coastline and cliffs and seas are really part of what makes Scotland Scotland. And this project is going to diminish that. We're going to be worse off in terms of nature as a result of this project happening. And sure, we need the renewable energy, but there are other ways of doing that which are much less damaging to seabirds and this kind of critical part of Scotland's kind of very identity. Just to illustrate how damaging and how concerning Berwick Bank is, unusually a whole group of environmental organisations have come together to say Berwick Bank is just too far. This goes beyond any red line that we could possibly have, and we're collectively saying to Scottish Government and to the developers, Scottish and Southern Energy, this project is just too damaging for seabirds. We need to stop this project going ahead and focus instead on less damaging projects.
There's no other development comparable to it in terms of predicted loss of seabirds. We're talking about 40,000 pairs of seabirds over 20 years. So it's an exceptional level of loss, quite out of scale with any other development that we've seen.
Berwick Bank is projected to be one of the deadliest offshore wind farms anywhere in the world in terms of its impact on seabirds and mortality rates. It's also, very much the wrong development in the wrong place.
Well, this is quite an old-fashioned development, and it's been designed to work in shallow water, which is also where the birds feed. Much more modern developments are built further out to shore, further offshore, where there's far less environmental damage. So by putting it exactly where the birds are feeding, that's denying them access to food in the first instance, and obviously collision with the turbine blades themselves, which directly causes mortality.
The scale of the wind farm is really what is the issue here. It's going to be such a huge development, and actually there are a lot of smaller developments that could go ahead that actually combined would have a higher energy generation than Berwick Bank. We're really saying to the Scottish Government that this is not the right decision, and actually there could be other avenues we could go down and still reach our net zero targets.
These islands are incredibly special for seabirds. The Firth of Forth is home to hundreds of thousands of seabirds during the busy breeding season. We've worked with the community for more than 20 years to try and protect these amazing islands for seabirds. And this development stands to undo a lot of that amazing work that's taken place. And I think the community is feeling really worried about that. I think people both in the local community that have a connection to these islands and in the national community for people that are interested in nature and protecting seabirds are really concerned that this development has been consented.
We're definitely hearing from communities that we've been working with across Scotland this year that they are really dismayed by this decision. They really don't understand why the government has decided to consent for this development in particular, as opposed to the other options that are available. We all know that seabirds are so culturally important as well as ecologically important to Scotland. People really have a love for them, and it's what connects a lot of people with the sea, particularly in this area here, obviously with Bass Rock. Just massive amounts of tourists every year come to see these seabirds. So I would say, while the consent's been granted, there is an opportunity to have this reversed.
We want to see a green revolution in energy. We want to see offshore renewables and other green forms of energy popping up all over Scotland, and we want to be leading in that as a country.
So offshore wind, we absolutely need offshore wind to decarbonise, to help tackle climate change, but it can't be at any cost. There has to be a limit, and we think the impacts of Berwick Bank well exceed that limit. They blow through it completely. It's head and shoulders above other projects in terms of the scale of impact, the scale of the number of seabirds it's going to be killing.
This is Scotland's environment. If you think why climate change is a threat to us, it's a threat to people, but it's also a threat to nature, which ultimately is a threat to the whole of society. And it's perverse to create a renewable energy development that in fact directly threatens nature. The thing we're trying to save, we're going to destroy in order to save it. That just doesn't make sense.
We want people to head onto our website, and we want them to take part in an e-action, to write to the First Minister and to write to SSE, to ask them to cancel Berwick Bank, to tell them that they're not on board with this scale of loss for nature, and to take a stand for seabirds in Scotland.